And we're getting ready to go green here today in race 21 of the season for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. Had a little bit of technical difficulties there, not realizing the sound was on, but fortunately we figured it out thanks to Matthew Rodriguez before we went green. I'm Seth Cole alongside Samuel Dyer, and we had a lot of useful information here in this first half of the pace lap. We'll see if we can recap it all real quickly here. But I mean, first off, Sam, as we were just talking about the fact of Logan Helton up here, surrounded by a number of the Cup regulars.
Yeah, Cup regulars coming out to run, and Brandon Burcroft getting the pole. And last time we saw him racing out here with these guys, he was running out there at the Indy Road course. So obviously someone to watch out for in that 00.
Helton has been up outside the top 5 in the last 2 road course races, those being, of course, Indianapolis road course where he finished second, finished top 3 at Mid-Ohio. Next highest driver that you'd have to look back for would be David Santini as far as a Rapid Fire Pizza regular. He's going to roll off from the 5th position as the pace car peels up. Up the hill they go, heading for the start-finish line to go green at Road America.
And as they finally get up to the top of the hill, green flag out in the air here at Road America. And it's going to be Brandon Burcroft leading the way and being shoved by Vincent Arthur.
It's going to be interesting to watch them down here into the right-hand turn 1. It is spacious enough to run double wide, but drivers don't give each other a whole heck of a lot of room. You see Helton kind of run a little wide, and that allows Burcroft to clear for the top position. Vincent Arthur now looking drivers left to try and take the second spot.
Everyone got through corner number 1 and 2, now through 3. I say they might have gotten through, but Roger Gregory did not. Actually, 3 drivers that started through pit stops. It's going to be Kyle Payne that spun around.
Early issues for the 21 out of Wood Brothers Racing. Here they come down into heavy braking zone left-hander. This is turn 5, and we're expecting this is going to be the trouble spot all day long.
And looking like it is. Heavy contact in the middle of the field. Tons of cars involved. That's going to be the 2 machine, as well as I believe that's the 6 was involved, and a couple of other drivers as well.
Also the 78 of Barry Stevens got involved, the driver that's trying to get up there and battled for a playoff position. 66 of Jared Carr, who's making his debut here tonight, I believe was collected up as he's actually also looped it around on the uphill turn 6. He's facing into the tire barriers.
Yeah, I got shoved out of the way. It looked like there was some contact all over the place coming up here into turn number 7. And it was Tim Williams that made contact with the 66. That got them out of shape, but really everywhere right now is going to be a little bit of chaos.
Burcroft has gotten away by over 2 seconds over this 3-way battle for second between Logan Helton, Vincent Arthur, Ty McWhirter. Now, the good news for a lot of these drivers that have run into these early issues is that there will be implemented tonight a competition caution on lap 15. So as long as some of these drivers like Carr, Gregory, Kyle Payne, as well as Stevens and Whitaker, if they can at least just keep themselves on the lead lap, which is pretty easy to do at a very lengthy road course like Road America, then they'll be having the opportunity with that caution to catch back up.
And at the start of this race, we had 3 drivers that had to start from the pits. It's going to be Jeffrey Meyer, Roger Gregory, and Jacob Shorba, due to the fact that they did not put down a practice lap time, so they just start back in the back.
Now coming into this race, not as much of a battle as far as playoff positions go, points-wise. The closest battle that we've got coming into tonight's race is between Kevin Roy, who came in 12th of the playoff drivers, and then he's 19 points over Brandon Andrews. Kevin Roy is not in tonight's field. Andrews in the 24 is. He is currently in the 11th position. As we had another car in trouble, I think, Tim Williams in the 19, and he hit something hard.
Yeah, that 19 machine is just limping off after coming off the exit of turn number 3, got out in the grass and hard into the tire barrier.
The whole hood is completely missing on that Toyota Supra. As you mentioned, he will try to limp that car around, and I don't really know if that's going to affect him that much because of it being a road course. Road courses aren't necessarily a lot about aerodynamics. It's more about handling. So I don't know if that damage is going to affect him handling-wise or not, but if it does, then obviously that'll be very detrimental as we're only 2 laps into this 34-lap event.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob Shorba actually is in the pits, has not left since the start of the green. But that with Tim Williams, he has such heavy front-end damage that has to be hurting the motor, and that's probably what's going to be hurting him the most. going forward. He's going to be hoping for that caution to come out very soon at the halfway marker, because it's going to be a struggle for that 19 until he can come in and fix that machine up.
We already talked about the 66 of Jared Carr. We saw him up into the tire barriers in the sand trap over in turn 6. He is making his debut here tonight, along with the 6 of Jay Queen out of JD Motorsports, and a driver that we saw go to victory lane earlier on in the season at Kentucky. That is TJ Crampton. Well, Crampton impressed so much, he is now up with Penske Racing, running the second entry along with teammate Roger Gregory.
Yeah, it's been a great upgrade for that Penske team, being able to get Crampton onto that overall structured team. And, you know, it's going to be a good time for them right now, running in 6th position. And looking, and looks like a car up front. That was Cody Jordan in 9th place. Drove off in the final corner, able to keep that car straight and avoid the tire barriers because of the sand trap.
This track is very narrow. It does have runoff, but the runoff is grass area. And you saw right there how Cody Jordan, all that momentum lost trying to get back onto the racing surface. Those tires are not going to take when you get off course into the grass, and it's going to be even tougher when you get off into the sand trap to be able to try and get back onto the racing surface and continue on.
Oh, the sand trap is going to be one of the more difficult things to get through. You're just going so slow, and sometimes your car will actually bog down in the sand trap, not enabling you to go anywhere, which means you'll have to take a tow, and you'll be losing even more time by having to wait to get to the pit road because of the tow, and then you might have some damage you have to repair from there.
We just saw right there Logan Helton and Ty McWhirter. Those cars got a little loose with their right sides up there on the rumble strip. And, you know, in terms of track conditions here today, the sun's been out, the track is pretty slick, and those rumble strips, those are not necessarily there to be able to give you grip. They're there to let you know where the pavement ends and the grass begins, and also to kind of give drivers a little bit of judgment of just a little bit of banking to be able to help them off the corner. But when the sun goes onto that rumble strip and you lay rubber down there, it actually makes it very slippery.
Yeah, it is like ice skating out there on track right now, and especially on the rumble strips, you want to make sure you don't get onto the gas just a little too hard, or it will spin your car around. And right now, looking at the track temp, it is 100 degrees on the track temp, and it's about 81 degrees outside.
Well, you saw there, David Santini thought about driving it deep on Ty McWhirter for 4th, could not make it happen. He's been all over that 20 these last 3 laps ever since we went green, and we had an exchange for 2nd. You saw Vincent Arthur got around Logan Helton. He's been able to start to open up a little bit of daylight, and TJ Crampton, that bright yellow 22, is starting to close in here as well. So we're about to have 6 drivers up here from about 2nd back through 6th.
Yeah, I think the main thing is I'm extremely surprised that Logan Helton is struggling as much as he is. He looked like one of the cars that had probably the best machine out here based off practice. Did not have the time to beat out Burkroff during qualifying, and it just seems like Brandon Burkroff, the more that he's on track, the faster he gets, as he's running almost faster than he was during qualifying and practice.
A look here on the in-car cam as we see the driver of the cystic fibrosis Toyota Supra. And just watch the hands, very steady here down the straightaway area, but I mean, watch him when he goes through the corners. This is coming down, I believe, into turn 5, and let's see how he approaches it. Let's see how smooth he's going to be. See right there, just a little bit of counter steer, turns it hard to the left. Right now, it looks like he's doing okay, but there was a point back coming off of one of the sections of the corner. Ty McWhirter, what just happened to the 20?
20 machine went for a ride.
Was it that rumble strip again?
Yeah, he got onto the rumble strips a little bit, threw him off course, and he went into the grass. Got a little bit of contact, but just the rumble strip.
TJ Crampton. He's into the sand trap and gets it back on course.
And once again, just you're coming in with too much speed into turn number 8, and that is a dangerous spot as well if you carry too much speed. I mean, with Crampton, he's drifting it around. He's gonna loop it around.
That car's gonna come right back up into the racing line. Fortunately, as he turns the car around, it's into the grass. It's about 8 seconds before he got back to Evan Longacre, who now passes him for 6th place. So he did have a little bit of time to recover, and Longacre runs it a little bit wide through that corner, and he's got some rear end damage on that 10 machine.
Yeah, I think Longacre was a part of that first corner into turn number 5 where a lot of machines came in and got collected with one another. So I think that's where the 10 machine got some damage. But these guys are running so hard right now, and the more they slip and slide, the more they're abusing those tires and heating them up, and the track's already so slick. Every single time you spin around, most of these guys are trying to burn their tires down to get back to going straight. By that time, your tires are so worn and so heated, you're bound to slip and slide once again.
Talked about turn 5, the Moraine sweep going to be trouble. You saw right there, Tim Williams into the tire barriers and trouble through the kink. That is turn 11. Those are the two toughest parts of the racetrack, and already it's claimed a number of victims, and we're only 5 laps in.
Yeah, and you're starting to see cars that feel
Crampton has wrecked it again. Sorry to cut
Oh.
you off, but he went way off the course there and hard into the tire barrier. That car, not sure that car even had any brakes because that was a long slide.
Longacre braked sooner than Crampton was expecting, and he had to use an evasive move, and even if he was on the brakes, it did nothing to slow that 22 down hard into the tire barrier, and that's a lot of engine damage to worry about.
Absolutely, that drops Crampton all the way back to 12th place. But the one guy we haven't talked hardly at all about here, that's our race leader. That's because he's about 7 seconds ahead of second place Vincent Arthur. He's just out for a Sunday drive right now.
Yeah, he's just cruising around, and right now there is no traffic to worry about. The next closest car that he's going to be near is behind him. So this Double Zero just has to hit his marks and really not worry about anyone else and make sure he doesn't make any mistakes. And right now, he's doing fantastic out here is Brandon Burcroft.
First time we saw Brendan Burcroft was here in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. Granted, he's a Soda Guys Cup Series driver, but he made his very first start in either series down here in the Grand National Series and went coast to coast, pole to win at the Indianapolis Road Course. So no surprise, we've seen him doing well at another track with the twists and turns, lefts and rights, but a dominating performance right now. Probably the only guy that is not happy with the fact we are going to have a competition caution coming up in about 10 laps.
Oh, completely. He does not want to see this competition caution come out because it's going to enable everyone else to get close to one another. And because this is an open setup league, it allows drivers that really feel like they need to make some adjustments on their cars. They can do it under pit road and have a better chance of sticking with this Double Zero.
It's a driver that's doing a really good job right now. We haven't mentioned his name much in the past couple of weeks because he's been running about mid-pack, but how about JD Motorsports' Matt Knight? He's been able to get through a lot of the carnage early on in this race, running solidly in that 7th position.
Yeah, Matt Knight, really, he's one of those cars that are lucking out in a way of he's running some really decent times compared to all the cars he's around, and some of the cars up front have been struggling, and some of the drivers that we kind of know are amazing at oval races really are struggling right now at the road courses, like Carson Bowers. He's someone we're used to seeing up front. Brandon Andrews, he's someone that we usually see in the middle of the pack, but in front of him, Longacre went for a ride through the sand trap.
And I can't tell if he got the tire barrier or not. He might have saved it just beforehand, but big group of cars were right behind him, so that drops him from 7th all the way back to the 12th position.
Yeah, leading this big group is going to be Cody Jordan in the 9 machine, running 7th right now, and there's about, I would say, 5 to 6 machines all clustered up in a line. At any moment, they got to be careful to make sure that they know each other's braking points so they don't run into one another. But it looks like Whitaker trying to get by the 9 machine now.
Trying to make the move down there into turn 5, trying to make the inside line work. He'll have the advantage here through 6. Now watch out for that rumble strip, though. That's been detrimental to a number of drivers already in this one. It looks like Whitaker will clear for the spot. And look who's right behind these guys. Roger Gregory in the 12. Now, it's no surprise to see him running well, but you alluded to it earlier. Roger Gregory started this race from pit road. He's already up inside the top 10.
Yeah, it just shows the struggles that most of this field has been having. I mean, we saw that in turn 5, first lap. There were about 8 cars all involved, that little collision in the back of the field, and everyone's now kind of been sorting each other out. And everyone's got a little bit of piece of damage back here, and they're all trying to just run the best race they can until that caution comes out so they can start repairing their machines.
Everybody trying to make it to that target lap of 15 when a competition caution will come out. One driver that will not make it to that point, though, is Jared Carr in his first start has taken his number 66 back to the garage area. We saw him nose it into the tire barrier up at the hill of turn 6, and apparently that damaged too much to fix, so he is the first DNF from this race. Jacob Shorba still sits on pit road. Started this race from pit road, has not moved from his pit stall yet. Bear in mind, Jacob Shorba has a win this season, so he's already locked into the playoffs. So as long as he just continues to make starts, he would be making the required starts to be playoff eligible. And I think that's what maybe he's doing right now. As you see right there, the one still sitting in his stall.
Yeah, that might be what he's trying to do right now. It looks like TJ Crampton trying to make some passes now, getting by Roger Gregory for that 9th position. And Penske drivers running 9th and 10th, trying to get through this field, but with Crampton's damage, he's going to be able to get at least up to, I think, Matt Knight, but after there, it's going to be difficult for the 22 machine to catch up to anyone else.
Yeah, talking about Crampton and Tim Williams, both are missing their hoods, but this just shows that you don't necessarily have to have a completely aerodynamic car, hoodless and all, to be able to run fast lap times and pass race cars here at a road course. Right now, Crampton about to try and take 8th place away from Cody Jordan. This is a car that nosed it into the tire barriers back in turn 1.
Almost making a little bit of contact there between the 22 and the 9 machine, and they'll get out there cleanly, and Crampton will easily make the pass through turn number 7, coming into turn number 8.
I have to wonder, too, with the fact that these drivers know that there is a competition caution coming up, as Matt Knight, I think Matt Knight was trying to give room to Whitaker, overdrove the corner. Evan Longacre's into the grass, about 3 drivers into the grass between turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, that was Crampton and Matt Knight that went off initially, and then Longacre had to go into the grass to avoid hitting Crampton, so 10 machine had to make evasive maneuvers, and Barry Stevens had to slow down and almost come to a complete stop before he ran into the 10.
Barry Stevens is now worked up to 11th place after he got involved in that wreck on the first lap going into turn 5. The other driver that he was involved with, I believe, was the 2 of Chris Whitaker, who has also made a good rebound up to 6th.
Yeah, looking at some of our biggest movers so far, that's going to be that 12 machine of Roger Gregory. Started 20th, now up to 18th place, up 12 positions, our biggest mover so far.
Problems for Jeffrey Meyer coming through turn 11 out of the kink as he went for a ride through the sand trap, and looks like he may have gotten into the tire barriers.
Yeah, he did. He got heavy into the tire barriers and losing the hood, which brings out another machine with the lost hood there.
It's the best battle on track right now. This is for 6th, 7th, and 8th between Whitaker, Jordan, and Gregory. Right now, up ahead, maybe the closest battle is between teammates David Santini and Logan Helton, but they're separated by a second.
Yeah, we're used to seeing the BJ McLeod guys running close to one another, not really trying to wreck one another or pass one another. It's more of follow suit, see how close we can get to the rest of the field. Once the pits happen, then we'll start making passes on one another. But usually they just follow one another, just follow suit until probably pit road where their pit stops, and that's when they finally start making some moves on one another.
Yeah, Santini and Helton finished 2nd and 3rd, with Helton 2nd, Santini 3rd at the Indianapolis Road Course. And then they finished 1-2 at the Road Course of Mid-Ohio, with Helton taking the checkered flag over Santini. The 2 of them started 1st and 2nd at race, finished 1st and 2nd, and right now those 2 are the highest running of the regular drivers down here in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series.
Yeah, still watching this battle for 6th, and Roger Gregory almost went into turn number 8 with too much speed. He wiggled it coming down to his brakes, and now he's right on the back bumper of the 9 machine of Cody Jordan. And Chris Whitaker's trying to pull away, just not able to, as the 9 and the 12 doing a great job sticking with him.
You know, I was going to bring this up before. We had Matt Knight, Evan Longacre, TJ Crampton all nearly spinning out through 6 and 7, but it's looking like these drivers are racing really aggressive. A lot of times we'll see drivers at these road courses kind of save their stuff for the longer run, but due to the fact they know they have that lap 15 caution coming up, it looks like these drivers aren't holding anything back in terms of trying to conserve their tires at all.
Yeah, it's kind of turned this race into a sprint in a way for these drivers to feel like, hey, we can push it as hard as we want. We know if we do start to fade back, we can still come back. Just don't go a lap down and you'll be all right.
Problems for Roger Gregory there as he's having some internet problems when we were riding on board with him, so he moves out of the way for teammate TJ Crampton to go by, and he'll settle into a safe spot there between the 22 and the 10 of Evan Longacre, who's over a second and a half behind him.
Yeah, I'm watching Roger Gregory, and oh, no, there goes Whitaker off the track into the grass and going to be coming back onto the track trying to avoid other drivers, but that tube machine losing positions quick from 6th all the way back to 10th.
And he's about to lose that to Barry Stevens, so drop him outside of the top 10. So Whitaker, who is also locked into the playoffs with a win earlier on this season, was looking really good, working his way up through the field after an early issue back on lap 1, but one little mistake, especially when you've got a lot of drivers within striking distance behind you, is really going to cost you. And now he's going to try and charge back here into the top 10, and he will, getting around Barry Stevens.
Looking at some of our leaders' times, that last lap, Burcroft ran a second slower than the rest of our top 5 racers, and it looked like he had a simple mistake here. We'll see once he crosses the line what his lap time looks for this lap, but at 00, I know he was running extremely quick in those first handful of laps. Maybe he possibly burnt up his stuff too early.
You know, too often we see a lot of races here in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series come down to pit strategy. Now, it's interesting that the admins decided that here tonight we are going to be having the competition caution at lap 15. I'm almost wondering, though, I'm not sure what the fuel window is, but is it possible that they placed it at just such a point that when we go back green after the competition caution is over, that these drivers might not be able to make it on fuel?
I believe the driver should still be good to make it. I believe, if I remember correctly, last time we saw the Xfinity cars here at Road America, they went about 20 to 21 laps. So the driver should be good just barely to make it to the end here on fuel. And it's going to be all about conserving your tires. Once again, looking at the lap times, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are all running faster than our leader. Burcroft hasn't been hitting the marks that he once was hitting before.
Major problems for the 12 of Roger Gregory, who looks like he may be bringing that car to pit road. He went off course back in turn 11 and then was running through the grass all the way through Kettle Bottoms, and I'm not really sure what that was about. He is fighting internet problems, so I don't know if that's having anything to do with it or not.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what exactly is going on with the 12 machine at the moment, but he has pulled it into the pits and is taking service at the moment.
Wow, Evan Longacre, a big run to the back of Cody Jordan into the heavy braking zone turn 5 as he nearly loses it there, trying to get back to the throttle. Another interesting thing these drivers might do, we might see some kind of strategy. Maybe some of our front runners up here, maybe someone like Santini, Logan Helton, might duck to pit road before lap 15, before that competition caution comes out. Then when the yellow comes out and other drivers have to come to pit road, they could maybe stay out.
Yeah, we weren't given the rules exactly on if you were not able to come in early. I know for some leagues, if you put a halfway marker, you cannot pit 2 or 3 laps before the competition caution is about to come out. So I don't know if that was implemented for these drivers or not, but I would imagine that most of them are probably going to just wait until the halfway marker because they don't want to risk staying out there on older tires or fuel that might not make it to the end than everyone else.
David Santini has gotten around his teammate Logan Helton and is now pulling away, firmly in control of that 3rd position. The important thing right now with the fact of Brendan Burcroft out in front as well as Vincent Arthur running in 2nd is that Santini and Helton, they are losing out on an opportunity for playoff points. You get 3 playoff points for each win that you have during the regular season. Santini has been able so far to accumulate 21 of them. Helton's been able to accumulate 6. So, if Burcroft or Arthur or any of the other Cup regulars go to victory lane here tonight, that's some playoff points that neither Santini, Helton, or the other Rapid Fire Pizza drivers would be able to carry with them when the playoff grid is formatted.
It's the playoffs is going to be so interesting to watch because it's been just dominated by the BGA McLeod guys, and I'm interested to see if anyone else can come in and start to you shake up the top of the class here, and we've been seeing that with all the soda guys coming in. They've been really shaking it up and making it difficult for the BJ McLeod machines to get wins here in the last couple of weeks, and it's been kind of very fun and interesting to see how some of these drivers been running around. But it looks like our top two finally starting to even out on lap times, and Vincent Arthur, great job on that 15's part to be running second at the moment.
Absolutely. Vincent Arthur, I believe, took part in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series race back at the Indy Road Course as well. I'd have to look back and see where he finished that race, but I'm pretty certain he did the fill-in duties over at RSS Racing in the 93 in that event. And we dropped back to look at a brewing battle for the 9th position. As soon as we went back to look at it, Tim Williams had an issue coming out of turn 2, so Whitaker in 9th, Williams drops back to 10th. What was about a 10th of a second difference is now turned into 8 seconds, and now there's no battle out there on the track right now any less than a second and a half in distance.
Yeah, it was looking like Brandon Andrews and Carson Bowers was about to have a battle, but Andrews has just started to fade back and having some issues on his end of just trying to stick with the 16 machine. But they've been battling back and forth throughout the whole entire race between the 16 and 24. This is the battle for 14th position.
Saw there Jay Queen making his debut on the season. Now, on our telemetry, he's being scored in the 6 machine, but visibly he is in the 98. So I'm not certain if he is driving the number 98 for Stuart Haas and Biggiotti Motorsports, or if he is driving the 6 for JD Motorsports. But right now, up in the 11th position.
Kyle Payne spun it around up here at corner number 6, and I wasn't sure if he's going to get that car straight as our leader was coming up real close on that 21 machine, but he did fire that 21 machine and was able to get going. But Kyle Payne, one of our drivers that could be going one lap down, that's on track.
And if he does go a lap down, he would be in line for the free pass when we get the competition caution, but I don't know if that's a testament to the struggles that Kyle Payne has had here in these 12 laps or just how fast Brendan Burcroft is, because it's very unusual at a road course to fall a lap down, especially one that's as long as Road America is.
Oh, right now, that is a lot of pain. Like, Kyle Payne is struggling right now. He is, from lap number 1, he's been struggling just to keep that car on the course, and it's just one of those races where it's just so difficult for some of these drivers to keep their machines on the course and not spinning it out at least somewhere on the track.
See here on board with Vincent Arthur how he approached the kink and now trying to catch up here to that 21 of Kyle Payne. He will get around him as well. The gap that we were talking about before that was about 6 seconds has now been chiseled away to about 4 seconds. And remember that Brendan Burcroft, a lot of this ground that he gained was back when Vincent Arthur was battling with Santini, Logan Helton, Ty McWhirter in that 4-car pack, and Arthur at the time was trying to get around Helton for second place. Now that he's been able to clearly get out into the second position, he's been running, as you alluded to, much faster lap times. It'll be very interesting to see here when we have the competition caution, everybody gets lined up, if we have a mano-a-mano between Burcroft and Arthur, just how close that battle is actually going to be.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it just keeps on shrinking away. And I don't know if it's because Burcroft used up all of his tires so early or not. And it's so hard to tell at the moment. But other gaps that are starting to dwindle away, get battle for third is starting to heat up just slightly here, as well as a battle for 11th.
And guess what? My assumption is that probably the pits were going to be closed when we got to 2 to go for this competition caution, because Ty McWhirter in the 20 has hit pit lane. So playing a little bit of strategy here, the Joe Gibbs Racing entry.
And looks like McWhirter is going to be the only car so far to make that decision. And it's a bold one. And I think that is it's so difficult to try to hold off our leaders that are running so quick. But I mean, it's a great choice to at least try to get some bonus points and possibly be leading at least one lap here under caution.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see if it pans out for him. Obviously, McWhirter is not running for points here in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. He's running for the championship up in the Soda Guys Cup Series, so he's got the luxury of being able to go out there and try some strategy like this and see if maybe it's going to be a potentially race-winning move.
And Burkroff, he's just seeing that lead. Yeah, he's happy that it got up to how big it was at one point, but now it's almost at 3.5 seconds. It's double zero machine. I think he's kind of just trying to make sure he doesn't wreck this car out before we get to the caution at this point.
Last time by, he was about 0.6 slower than Vincent Arthur. We'll see what it's like here at the line, and with him hitting the line now, pits would be closed. Nobody would be able to come to pit lane from now till the competition caution. So the only driver that took the opportunity to be able to see if he could gain some track position with coming to pit road prior to the competition yellow was the 20 of Ty McWhirter. And even with making that pit stop, McWhirter's only fallen back to 8th place, pitted from the 5th position. So that just shows you how the field got spread out.
Yeah, I mean, 5th place. I mean, it's crazy to look at the telemetry because from 4th to 5th, the gap is 45 seconds between those two. So if any of our top 4 wanted to pit, they could have pitted, gotten back out there, and only would have been fallen back maybe 2 seconds from the car that's in 5th and 6th place.
Drop back a little bit further here. That's where we find Ty McWhirter right now in the 8th position. He's got about 14 seconds to make up on Evan Longacre ahead of him, and he's got about 4 seconds behind him to Chris Whitaker. So what he can do right now is just kind of maybe save his tires for these final 2 laps, which he's just now hit. You know, just make sure that he saves his stuff so he does have something when he eventually decides, if he does, to stay out when all the rest of the leaders come to pit road for the competition caution, which will be coming up fairly shortly, as Brendan Burkroff next time around will be hitting at the start of lap 15.
Trying to re-look to make sure. I believe it's at the end of 15 when the yellow will come out. But these drivers, they're going to be running as hard as they can. Yes, it is at the end of lap 15 when the yellow will be thrown out for the field. So still got another lap and a half to go for our leader.
So right there, Brendan Burkroff. That was razor's edge going through the kink, heading into the Kettle Bottoms corners there. And so I'm almost wondering if maybe he did use his stuff up, as he's not really able to slow up the car as much as he would like going into the corners at this point in time, this long into the run.
And it's actually going to be the start of lap 15. So that was my mistake for misreading the information that we were given. As yellow is now out, this competition, yellow drivers will practically all of them are going to be coming in. The only driver we got our eye on is going to be Ty McWhirter to see if he will be the only car to stay out, or maybe another driver will try to stay out as well.
So there, Brandon Andrews with a little bit of a moment off of turn 2, as he managed to just barely stay on the lead lap. Kyle Payne right now is the only car a lap down that's still out on the track, so it looks like he would be the free pass machine. I know before these drivers come to pit road, I mean, you know, there's a lot of drivers that really were impressive here. Whoa, Brandon Andrews getting out of shape ahead of the leader. There were a lot of drivers that were really impressive here in this first run leading up to this competition caution. TJ Crampton, no hood. He was able to battle up to the 5th position. Saw that rear end damage on Evan Longacre. Chris Whitaker had trouble down in turn 5 on the first lap. They were able to be 8th and 9th coming to this competition caution. And Cody Jordan, I mean, who will ever forget the struggles he had back at the road course of, I believe it was Mid-Ohio. We saw him all over the place, but he's looked pretty good here today at Road America, finished here in the 6th position leading up to this competition caution.
Yeah, I was nervous for Jordan just because of the way that he actually started out this race. He was going off the track for the first 2 laps or so, and then finally settled in, and he's been looking better and better each lap. So this 9 machine, someone to watch out for later on. Looks like he's going to be set up for a top 10 finish, but he might be someone that tries to get up there into the top 5.
Leaders. Whoa, Brandon Andrews. He's trying to get up there so that the leaders can catch the pace car, but he's on the lead lap when the caution came out, so they can't pass him. And Andrews, with that pressure of having to get up here so the leaders can catch the pace car before coming to pit road, having a couple of moments here on this lap.
Which is, I don't know what is going on right now because I don't see the pace car out there on track. So I don't know if there's a iRacing glitch that happened or not, but right now the pace car is not on track for that and them to race too. So they're just racing around with the yellow flag out in the air. Oh, there comes the pace car, finally out on track, coming on the front stretch.
I think because the caution was thrown, the leader had crossed the start-finish line. So these drivers were technically, and I'll put this in air quotes, racing back to the caution. So the pace car must have been waiting for when the race leader was coming through the final few corners before it finally decided to pull off pit lane and pick up the field.
Possibly, but as the drivers are starting to go around and get situated, I mean, it's going to take a while for them to get situated, but I think Seth, right now might be the best time for us to bring out ourselves our first commercial of the day.
Yes, I agree with you. It's going to take a little while for them to complete this pace lap and then open pit road. So as that happens, you won't miss a thing. We're going to stay upper end side by side, and we'll be back in a few moments here to the action from Road America. Welcome back here to Road America for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. Pit stops are the order of the day as we're getting set for what could be the only pit stop of the day, leading us to the checkered flag, Sam.
And Ty McWhirter does come in, so did not feel like you had enough fuel to make it all the way to the end of the race, so everyone should be coming in this time but not everyone is caught up to the lead pack, so only your top 8 right now are coming to the pits right now.
You got to go all the way back. Now coming up the uphill section, you got Chris Whitaker and Jay Queen, Barry Stevens, Jeffrey Meyer, and others just now were coming up the pit road entry. When we had the field over in Kettle Bottoms, most of the rest of the field was still over in the Moraine Sweep in turn 5.
And coming out, it's going to be Burcroft, who's going to be our car first out. And then it's going to be Arthur, Santini, Helton, Crampton. So practically everyone came in the way that they entered.
I don't think any positions changed up in at least inside of the top 6. Oh, Vincent Arthur might have got hit with a speed penalty.
Looks like he got, he's talking over the radio. He was hit with that penalty for the 15 machine, who was running second at the time. Vincent Arthur, he felt like that the iRacing wasn't going to penalize him with him just accelerating out, but he was one box too far out and accelerated too quick.
Wow, that is a tough penalty, because not only is he going to be EOL, but he was running down Brendan Burcroft there on that first run before the competition caution, and now he's going to have a lot of ground to make up in what's going to probably be somewhere around 15 laps to the finish.
Yeah, and the time that these drivers pit, we were talking about possibly there was a chance that these drivers would have to pit one more time just because of where the caution was going to come out, but just because of how long it took the pace car to finally get out on track, it has made it to where they don't need to worry about pitting. This is the one time that these drivers pit, so it is now driving through the field, and Vincent Arthur, he saved his tires up in a way, almost caught up to Burcroft at the time the caution almost came out, and now it's up to the BJ McLeod guys if they now can stick up and stay with the 00 of Brandon Burcroft.
Yeah, we're going to have to see, because this is the highest up that David Santini has been running. He was third when the caution came out, and with Arthur having to EOL, he'll now be up to second, and he seemed to have a pretty good car on the long run. Of course, Logan Helton qualified on the outside of the front row here today. He'll line up third. TJ Crampton, they spent no extra time on pit road fixing the damage. The hood completely gone on that Penske truck rental Ford Mustang, but he's still been pretty fast. Was able to work his way up into the top 5 after his incident in turn 1. He'll be 4th, and Ty McWhirter did not go with the strategy, as you alluded to, of staying out despite coming to pit road 2 laps prior to the competition caution coming out, so he's going to be in the 5th position. And you see Vincent Arthur back there. I mean, the bad news for him is he is going to drop all the way back to at least 17th place if everybody is able to catch up because of this EOL.
Yeah, we're going to look and see if the pace car lights are off. I believe they're almost off.
Yeah, they're still on right now.
Yep. They are still on, so they should be coming off this next time by.
Which means that we would go green with 15 laps to go, if my calculations are correct.
Yeah, that would...
Would it be 16?
It would be 17 laps to go. 16, actually, yeah. 16 laps if the lights go off.
And we'll see if they do. Normally at the road courses, they don't run as many pacing laps as they would at a speedway or obviously at a short track. And there you go. Lights are off. So they will double up. And let's not forget, the only other time we saw these drivers doubled up was the initial start of this race. And we had quite a multi-car pileup in turn 5 on that lap. So with these drivers all in close proximity yet again, and knowing that this could very well be the green flag that's going to lead them to the checkered flag, we're going to see the aggressiveness kicked up maybe another notch.
Right now, Vincent Arthur is at the end of this pack, and he's only in 12th. So we're still missing about 7 cars to finally get it back up here. So that's Jeffrey Meyer, Tim Williams, Chris Whitaker, as well as Matt Knight, Brandon Andrews, and Kyle Payne. Once these drivers all catch up, then we'll see the 15 car drop even further back. But Kyle Payne is about a half a track away from our leaders, struggling to get catching up to them.
Brandon Andrews, I think, may have missed his pit stall on the first time pits were open. So he is on pit road yet again and will be able to take his service now. In terms of guys like Meyer, Williams, Whitaker, and Matt Knight, they spent over a minute on pit road getting damage repaired from the first 15 lap run, which is why they lost so much time to the leaders up here in this pacing group.
Well, as we're still in the middle of this pace lap, I mean, Seth, we get to watch these Rapid Fire National guys driving, and we've got some Soda guys that are racing tonight. They'll be racing tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be a busy day for SNFRN.
Definitely is. Not only do we have the Soda guys tomorrow evening, we've also got FTF that's going to be running. I believe that the Soda guys tomorrow are going to be running, I believe if I remember correctly, they're running at the Michigan International Raceway for that 2-mile racetrack that very much is like a super speedway. Talk about a wild card race there. FTF, if I recall correctly, I believe that they're running a special themed race for the animation domination. We're going to see a lot of cartoon type cars out there, and they will be running their road course race at Road America here, this venue, for their one as well. So maybe a little bit of a preview for us here tonight as to what to expect for the FTF drivers tomorrow evening.
Yeah, and with FTF, it's always a fun time watching them with their road courses. I've watched a couple of their special road courses at Spa and as well as at Montreal. So some of the bigger, where you would usually see some F1 cars racing at. Got to see some stock cars racing, but for this race right now, you've got Brendan Burcroft leading the way in first, and he's kind of just been staying there since this drop of the green.
And the question now is, with Vincent Arthur having to drop all the way back to now 16th with that EOL penalty, who is the driver that's going to be able to step up and be able to keep touch with Brendan Burcroft and maybe even wrestle that race lead away from him? Santini's up here in second, Helton's in third, TJ Crampton's in fourth. These drivers have shown they do have speed to at least somewhat keep pace with Burcroft, but it's really all going to depend on how good a jump Burcroft gets when the green flag comes out, which is just moments away as they'll head through the final right-hander and turn up the hill for the start-finish line.
Also got to keep our eye out into corner number 1, 3, and 5 here early on in this race. Will we see the same carnage that we saw when we first had the drop of the green? But as they're rolling up to the hill, it's going to be Brandon Burcroft leading the way. Once again, green flag is going to be back up into the air.
They are all stacked up in those first 3 rows, all nose to tail. As Burcroft clears for the top spot, he'll probably try and move to driver's left to get a nice arc into the corner. No, runs defensively. Helton's going to take the outside line.
And they're all starting to peel off. It looks like one machine actually is going to be dropping all the way to the back. That's going to be Barry Stevens, who goes off course into the sand trap. But up front, everyone's now entering turn number 3.
And again, like we saw on the longer run, a driver would make a mistake, recover, and maybe not even lose a position. Now with everybody bunched up, we saw Barry Stevens' mistake. That dropped him all the way back to 17th.
Yeah, he was running around 12th, so not where he wants to be. But now all the cars running downhill, coming into turn number 5. This is where we saw them wreck in the lap number 1. Will everyone get through cleanly this time?
Oh, they're double wide back there. That's Vincent Arthur making some moves as he'll get around Tim Williams. Chris Whitaker got around Jeffrey Meyer, but those double wide formations down into turn 5 settled out pretty calmly. Everyone made it through, at least this time.
Looks like all the nerves have settled and no one's really overshooting or really trying to make any aggressive moves at this point. They now know it's not just the halfway point. It's about getting to the end of the race, so let's not wreck each other just yet.
Vincent Arthur trying to charge his way back up through the field after hit with the EOL penalty on pit lane. They're double wide ahead of him there. That's Carson Bowers in the 16. Jay Queen, the 98, just up ahead of him. Looks like it will be Arthur making the pass on Bowers, so move him up into the 10th position, but still a long ways to go, and about 7 seconds between himself and race leader Brendan Burcroft.
And Burcroft right now has already gapped himself from Logan Helton up to almost a second lead to second place. This is incredible racing action from Burcroft as he just continues to pull further and further away here on this lap that just went green.
Trouble for David Santini. The 7-time winner has looped it around off of turn 11. May have gotten into the wall there off the right side of turn 11 through the kink. recovers, and now is under fire for 14th place. This is where he fell to. Barry Stevens and Kyle Payne back there.
Well, I mean, at least he's back with a teammate, right, with Barry Stevens, but that is not where this 99 machine wanted to be. With that damage, though, we've seen cars rebound and at least come back, but it is going to be a long road for that 99 machine to get back up front where he wants to be. Vincent Arthur is already up to 8th place, but that battle for the lead, nowhere to be seen. It's almost 2-second gap from first to second.
Yes, and Vincent Arthur is making forward progress, that is for sure. The problem is that last time by, when he ran a 2:18 in traffic, Brendan Burcroft ran a 2:13 and was able to gain 5 seconds that lap.
Which a 2:13.3, faster than everyone else's best lap time by almost a full second. So this 00 machine of Brendan Burcroft is he's just being a masterclass right now compared to everyone else.
This battle right now is for second place. That's where Logan Helton's trying to fend off Ty McWhirter. You've got TJ Crampton back there as well. Cody Jordan starting to get up into this conversation, and not too far back behind them is Evan Longacre. So you got about 5 drivers up here battling for spots up inside of the top 5.
And once again, Vincent Arthur is going to get right back on the back bumper of Roger Gregory, and Gregory's been just really hounding this 15 and making it difficult for the Vincent Arthur to make any passes on the 12 to move up to 7th place.
Problems for Jay Queen as he overdrove it out of turn 6, had to come to a stop to avoid hitting the tire barrier. Now downshifts, spins the tires to try and get it straightened out so he can get back on the racing surface, and looks like that car may have stalled out there as he's trying to get it back onto the racetrack, and now will do so.
Yeah, he's waiting for everyone to get by him and then to finally get going. Matt Knight, who we saw earlier in the race, running about 6th position, one of the best positions we've seen him in a long time, and Matt Knight dropped all the way back to 17th, just has been having a rough time after that caution and also this restart.
Tim Williams just lost a spot to Chris Whitaker going through, I believe that was turn 12, Canada corner. So move Whitaker up to 9th, Williams back to the 10th position as this battle for 7th, just a little ways ahead of them, continues on between Roger Gregory and Vincent Arthur. And as these two are battling, they're actually starting to reel in Evan Longacre, so that could be a 3-man fight for the 6th position in a couple of laps.
Well, it's a 3-man position right now as a battle for 2nd, as Logan Helton still trying to hold off the 20 machine of Ty McWhirter, who's really just been on the back bumper of the 8 machine and trying to force him to make a mistake, but so far has not worked out.
And as these two continue to battle with each other, it's reminded me a lot of what happened on the first run when we initially went green. The battle was on for 2nd between 4 drivers at that point in time, and while everybody's focus was on that 2nd position, Burcroft was waving goodbye to the field. Well, it's deja vu here since going back green after the competition caution. The gap right now from Burcroft back to Helton, over 4 seconds.
And Brandon Burcroft, that last lap, his fastest lap of the day, a 2.12.7 second lap. That is incredible by the 00.
But let's remember, too, when he was out in front just before the competition caution, we saw Vincent Arthur starting to reel him in, suspecting that maybe Burcroft used up his stuff too early, trying to gap back to 2nd place. You would think that he would be maybe just a little bit more conservative in terms of how he's taking these corners as aggressively as he is, but apparently he feels that it's better to get that gap early and then just try and manage that gap as best you can when the tires eventually do fall off.
Yeah, I mean, the gap between Burcroft and Arthur, though, that was what he was more worried about before. Now that Arthur's only back in 7th place, almost 8 seconds behind the 00, he feels extremely comfortable because he can keep on making this gap bigger and bigger. It's still going to be difficult for the 15 to get by all the cars that he needs to even get up to 2nd.
How about this? We've got a train running around Road America. Right now, the engineer is Logan Helton. He's followed by McWhirter, Crampton, Longacre, who just got around Cody Jordan, or is trying to. And they got Vincent Arthur and Roger Gregory right here as well. You've got 2nd back through 8th, separated by 4 seconds, which at a road course, that's not much.
It really isn't, and right now, Longacre and Jordan doing a great job blocking the 15 because he has nowhere to go. Deciding to help the 9, but not really able to help anyone at the moment as they're still side by side. Almost contact made between the 10 and the 15 as there goes Jordan.
Jordan loses it, and he's going to collect up Longacre. Longacre's going to get his right side into that concrete safer barrier. I'm sorry, not safer barrier, but concrete barrier, I should say. As he's going to recover in the 8th position, Jordan back to 7th, and the guy that the waters kind of parted for was Vincent Arthur. That moved him from 7th up to 5th in one corner.
Yeah, you just thought maybe Arthur was going to be the one that was collected in that, but did not get collected. As more issues for Longacre, who goes off the track again and was dropped all the way back to 8th place, now all the way back to 12th.
So now all of a sudden the wheels are coming off of the engine for Evan Longacre as that drops him outside of the top 10. Back up towards the front though, Vincent Arthur now tries to reel in Crampton. Another car with an issue just ahead of him. That was Ty McWhirter in the 20. Ran off the corner. I believe that was out of turn 7.
Yeah, he was less than a second behind the 8 machine of Logan Helton. Now he's behind by 2.5, almost 3 seconds now, and is being hounded by 3 machines of the 22, 15, and the 12.
Little contact there, little rubbing doors between TJ Crampton and Vincent Arthur as they went side by side for the 4th position. Crampton holds the spot for the moment, and you know, the number that we're really looking at is the gap between Burcroft and Arthur right now, because those were the two that were looking like they were going to be the ones to maybe battling for the lead should we not have had that competition caution come out. And right now, the gap is 10 seconds from Burcroft, the race leader, back to the 5th place running Arthur.
You want to get an update on David Santini in the 99 machine. He is now up to 9th place and challenging Carson Bowers for 8th. He was all the way back to 13th, where you see Barry Stevens at the moment, and has moved his way up quite well, now up to the 8th position for David Santini.
Obviously, when every driver puts the helmet on and the engines are fired, they want to go out there and take the checkered flag. Well, Santini's done that 7 times this season, so he's already locked into the playoffs. So the reason he's out here is he's trying to get more playoff points when the points are reformatted and we head into the postseason. Right now, any points that he accumulates as far as finishing results really are kind of a moot point, because right now it's just basically down to padding his points lead when we get into the first round of the chase.
Vincent Arthur now up to 4th place. That 15 machine looks like he's driving angry right now, as he didn't really move the 22 out of the way, but kind of put his nose and said, hey, you better move or I'm going to move you myself, to Crampton right then. But also an update on other drivers in the back. Looks like Jay Queen did decide to park that 6th machine and is done for the day.
You know, Roger Gregory back there in that 12 car in 6th position. It is actually a bit of a recovery run for him, because let's not forget that earlier on he was having some internet issues and had to make an unscheduled pit stop. Managed to stay on the lead lap, and now apparently those connections have settled out. He is back in the running, and he's been able to work his way up to 5th, so a good job there as he just got around his Penske Racing teammate TJ Crampton. As soon as I say that, nearly lost it off that corner.
Yeah, I mean, more props to Gregory. He started in the pits when this race started. He worked his way up quite well. Then, like you said, he had his internet issues. The caution came out, helped the 12 machine to finally get rebounded and really centered back up, and now he's up to 5th place. Started 20th. And now has moved up 15 positions. A great day for that 12 machine.
Ty McWhirter we saw have that near moment off of turn 7, but he was able to recover, still in the 3rd position. And you see Logan Helton just up ahead of him. He's the next driver that Vincent Arthur is about to reel in. That would be the battle for 3rd place. Further back, got a battle here and a little contact. For the 11th position is Evan Longacre getting around Jeffrey Meyer in the 38.
And you know, Longacre's frustrated right now. He was running up there in the 6th position and then had more issues. Got collected with Jordan, and right now Jordan running 7th and Longacre running back in 11th.
Hey, bring up Cody Jordan. I was just about to mention him, because with him running in the 7th position right now, we mentioned the fact that Kevin Roy did not make the start here tonight. He came into this race in the 12th and final playoff position, 19 points ahead of Brandon Andrews. Well, Andrews hasn't been able to really capitalize on that situation. He's currently in the 15th position, but Cody Jordan was only 22 points out of the final playoff position, and right now en route for a top 10 run.
Yeah, now Cody Jordan, there's still just a little bit of time left, and with Kevin Roy not being able to make today's race, it really opens up the window to see who's going to be able to get in. And Jordan's one of those drivers that road courses doesn't seem to be his strong suit, but ovals is where that 9 machine really starts to thrive and does so much better.
Well, if these drivers namely Cody Jordan, don't really enjoy the road courses. I got some bad news. Next week, we're going to another road course. We're going to back-to-back road courses here as we're closing in on the end of the regular season. Next week, we're going to be in the upstate New York area at Watkins Glen. So a lot of the drivers that we're seeing doing well here today at Road America will be interesting to see if they're up there at the top of the leaderboard when we get to the Glen next week.
Yeah, it's really all these road course guys are excited for it, but some of the guys back here not too thrilled to see us go into another road course. But at least it's the Glen. It's one of those road courses that a lot of these stock car guys are used to and really can do a lot better at.
Absolutely, probably the most familiar road course.
Oh no! Carson Bowers was running in 9th place, spins it around, and as that was off of turn number 7. Where the 16 machines dropped from 7th all the way back to 13th.
That's a tough break there for the Colleague Racing entry, who we haven't talked a whole lot about today. And looks like something something might be wrong there with that 16 car as he then overdrove the following corner, turn 8, trying to get that car back on track. And I mean, it looked like the spin was off into the grass area. I know that a lot of times when drivers end up spinning out and all 4 tires slide on the racing surface, that can really heat up the tires and affect on whether the car is going to slow or not heading into the next braking zone.
Yeah, and also makes it a struggle to get back onto the gas, and that's what could cause you to spin out exiting. Looking at a battle that's starting to brew, and it's almost over, and that's going to be the battle for 3rd. It's Vincent Arthur slowly is inching his way back up into the top 3.
Couple of drivers that know each other very well from the Soda Guys Cup Series. Ty McWhirter is already locked into the Soda Guys Cup Series playoffs. Vincent Arthur, we're going to see him tomorrow night at Michigan trying to win his way into the playoffs, depending on where the playoff cut line is going to be here, as we only got a handful of races left in the regular season over there. And you said it was going to be over soon. You were correct. Vincent Arthur very easily makes the pass on Ty McWhirter, move him back up into the podium.
And like we said on that last green flag run, it just seems like Brandon Burcroft just takes off and really doesn't think about saving his tires because he's like, I can get the biggest lead I want and they won't catch up to me even if my tires do burn out. Right now, Logan Helton is running about a little bit less than a second faster than the 00, and he's about 4.5 seconds off of our leader.
I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised about that with Helton running in second, because with seeing how aggressive Burcroft was early on, both on the initial start of this race and here as well when we went back green, I was kind of thinking that the same would be said of Logan Helton. In a lot of the races that we've seen him in, he's got a really good short run speed car, but on the long run, the handling seems to go away. The fact that he is starting to chip away for that race lead, maybe taking a page out of his teammate David Santini's book and finding some long run speed at the road courses.
I mean, the 8 machine got to see a little bit of the 99 running around, and now he was trying to save tires, and now it's just about out there running the best that you can and trying to chip away at the 00, but man, it is tough out there for these drivers.
Yeah, and I gotta wonder too, with the fact of the conditions these drivers are having to deal with, the slippiness of the racetrack with the hot temperatures, the fact that now they've basically been able to make the only adjustments possible with that pit stop. Now they've got what they've got to the checkered flag. I mean, where do you think are the areas of this racetrack that Logan Helton can make up time?
Really, it's about your entries and exit in the corners. You have to make sure that you do not mess up your exits because you can really start wheel spinning these things and getting very loose, losing time that way. Also with your entries, if you come in with too much speed, you could honestly overshoot the exit, your apex, which they can ruin your exit. So there's a lot of mental fatigue that could be coming in with these drivers as they've been running out there they've been running out there for 26 laps at this moment, and it's only going to get worse from here on out, but we are closing closer and closer to the end of this race as we are less than 10 laps to go.
This is the battle for 14th, and even though it's not for a spot up inside the top 10, it's been fun to watch the last couple of laps. Brandon Andrews trying to hold off Matt Knight. Andrews trying to fight an ill-handling race car. Matt Knight trying to fight internet connection issues, as he is going to get around up the front straightaway. He'll take the 14th position away.
Then also, David Santini was able to get by Cody Jordan for 7th. So, 99 machine able to get up to at least 7th place. But right now, 26 seconds away from our leader. So a chance for victory, not in the 99 machine's eyes, but a top 5 possibly, as he's only about, doing quick math, only about 11, 12 seconds away from 5th place.
Vincent Arthur, that last time by, is out in clean air now, no traffic to deal with, and he ran only 3/10 faster than race leader Brendan Burcroft. Logan Helton, however, was faster than the both of them. He was a half second faster than Brendan Burcroft. So Vincent Arthur, we saw he had good long run speed on the first run before the competition caution. He may have used up quite a bit of stuff, having to work his way from all the way back 17th up to 3rd after that EOL penalty on pit road.
Another driver I'm worried that might have used up too much of his stuff is going to be Ty McWhorter in that 20 machine, as he's running about a second slower that last lap to the 22 machine of TJ Crampton, and if he keeps that up, Crampton will be able to catch up to the back bumper of that 20 and possibly move up to 4th place.
I'll tell you who also is doing a good job as far as working his way up through the field. We saw Santini's worked his way up to 7th. Remember, Evan Longacre had fallen all the way back to 16th place after back-to-back issues in a couple of corners. He's now back up into the top 10, up in that 10th position.
Yeah, he's trying his best right now, and like I said, he was driving mad, trying to get by people. I mean, that was what Arthur was doing, but so is Longacre ever since he got spun around. He's been just pushing this thing to the max, trying to gain as many positions as he can, but it's not looking so hot for him to gain any more positions from here on out, just because of the lap times that the cars in front of him are running compared to the damaged number 10.
And they are side by side behind him for 11th. That's Jeffrey Meyer, Barry Stevens. Now, Meyer comes into this race 141 points to the good as far as the playoffs are concerned. Barry Stevens, on the other hand, is the only one of the BJ McLeod drivers that has not yet locked into the playoffs. Came into this race 35 points behind the cut line, 15th in the playoff standings, if you will. Needs to get up into 12th place, and right now he is 12th in the running order.
So just continue to tick away and hope for the best here, as all these guys right now, they're seeing the laps tick away. And now is the time to start hitting your marks and pushing forward if you're just a couple of seconds away from someone. And if you're a couple of seconds from a car behind you, you really need to start hitting your gears and get going. Because if you just make one slip up, there's a chance that you could lose a couple of positions here and there. And you're really, right now is the time to hit your most consistent moments.
Yeah, the thing about Brendan Burcroft is we've seen his lap times taper off the longer the run goes, and whoever was running second, whether it be Arthur on the first run or now Logan Helton on this second run, have been able to kind of cut into his race lead. But the one thing we have not seen Brendan Burcroft do is put a tire out of line off the racing surface.
Yeah, we haven't seen him off the surface, but there's been a couple of times that I've watched that 00, and he'll get a little bit loose here or there. Maybe like once every 3 laps or so. So the consistency is there for Brandon Burcroft in the 00 machine.
Well, the last time by, Logan Helton ran about 4/10 faster. That time by, however, I think Helton might have had a little bit of a slip up because he was 6/10 slower. We got a trouble. Chris Whitaker in the 2 has gone around. I believe that is off of, I think that's turn 12, Canada Corner.
It looked like there was also someone else involved in that as well. Looking back to see. But yeah, Whitaker. Looks like he got off the course all by his lonesome and just came into that corner a little bit too hot, right into the tire barriers, and heavy damage for the 2 machine that was already pretty damaged already. Also updates for car in the back. Cal Payne is going to be parking his machine. He's done for the day.
So 3 drivers out of the race as we are at 7 laps to go. Payne, Jay Queen, and Jared Carr. So the 2 drivers that decided tonight here at Road America to make their Rapid Fire Pizza National Series debut, both of them end up in the garage area as Chris Whitaker is going to bring that 2 machine to pit lane. And so right now, depending on what happens here, he may actually be parking it as he came to a stop right in the middle of pit road. Nope, instead he's going to teleport to his pit stall, but depending on what happens. Yep, so he's going to finish in the 16th position, it looks like, here tonight.
Which bumps Tim Williams up to 15th place, and that 19 machine has been having a heck of a night as that thing is completely demolished. No hood as well. It seemed like we had a lot of drivers with no hoods driving around here tonight.
And Williams' car actually kind of looks like the cars they would race at a local dirt track, like the 358 modified, sorry. The engine exposed, the rear end looks like it's those rear wings that they run under the lights at the local short tracks.
Just going through the field, believe we have possibly about 4 or 5 drivers out there running with no hoods on. So impressive that these drivers are still able to run out there. And the car that's leading that charge no hood machines, it's going to be TJ Crampton in 5th place. I mean, that 22 machine, he is quick with the damage that he has.
Yeah, there has been quite a number of drivers that are running around with missing parts. Longacre, no hood. Matt Knight, no hood. I believe that he also is missing the front bumper, as Barry Stevens had just been passed by Evan Longacre for 9th and now completely overdrives Canada Corner. Has to put the car in reverse to get out of the sand trap and gets into the steel guardrail for his troubles. Finally refires the car back to 11th place. The 78 will fall.
And it's going to damage that back bumper and rear spoiler. So already a damaged 78 machine, I should say. And now with that spoiler damage, it's practically having a parachute in your rear end, making it so you're really not carrying as much speed as you want, or getting up to speed, I should say, on the straightaways.
Not really sure what it is, but I do know over on the Enter 2003 sim as well, if you get into the sand trap, shifting into reverse gets you out of the sand trap quicker. I'm not sure why that is.
Just because of the momentum of your car, you've already made a path, so if you back up through your path, it's a lot easier to get out of.
Right now, closest battle on track would be for 4th place, but that's a 2.5 second difference from Ty McWhirter back to the hoodless TJ Crampton. There you see the bright yellow 22 in your shot, as he's trying to close in on McWhirter in these final 6 laps, and that may be the only battle we're going to have here, maybe coming to the checkered flag unless something drastic happens to somebody here in the field and they fall back into the clutches of somebody else after making a mistake.
Yeah, looking at some of our closest battles that might be brewing up, possibly for 4th. But TJ Crampton looked like he's kind of solidified where he's at. Santini's trying to gain up onto Roger Gregory, but that's about 2.7 seconds back. You might be able to do so, but it's looking difficult for anyone to really gain and get up to anyone, and it's looking like we're pretty solidified where drivers are at the moment.
Tim Williams on pit road in the 19. He can fall no further than 15th place, and I thought he might be coming down to just maybe repair some damage. Nope, he is going to call it a night, as he will be finishing in the 15th position, and troubles for Brandon Andrews as he loops it around. That was out of turn 6. Nobody around him, though, as he gets his Exalta Chevrolet refired, and he will continue on. Right now, the last car running in the 14th position. But we've got 5 laps to go here at Road America. It takes them about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, actually more than that, to make a lap here. So we've still got about somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 13 minutes before Burcroft eventually will come around and take the checkered flag. So we're going to step aside for one more commercial break, and then we'll be back here for the finish at Road America for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. And we welcome you back to the closing stages of race 21 of the season here for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. It has been all Brendan Burcroft here today as he has led every single lap, whether it be under caution or whether it be under green. Right now, he enjoys a 6-second lead back to a battle that appears to be brewing for that second position, and it seems like going away to a commercial break was a good idea because we got a battle now for second, we got a battle heating up for fourth, and we saw moments ago Santini and Roger Gregory exchange positions, and then Santini looped it around.
We also got a battle here for 11th. Barry Stevens is being challenged by Carson Bowers in that 16 machine, and it was under a half a second. Now it's starting to grow just a little bit, but Carson seems like he's starting to feel his track just a little bit better now than he was at the start. He just did not look comfortable. Now slowly inching his way into comfortability on this track.
Vincent Arthur may have had a moment. Oh, and he has another moment there off of 6. He lost some ground in turn 5 and trying to gain it back off of 6. That car nearly went around, and now that solidifies second place for the moment for Helton. But your eyes aren't playing tricks on you, folks. This is the second time today, at least to my knowledge, that we've actually been hit with some cloud cover here at Road America.
Yeah, the cloud cover has really started to cool things off. It was that first cloud cover that we got helped cool off the track by about 3 to 4 degrees. This time around, we are down to 91 degrees track temp. We started this race at 100 degrees. We might get down to 90, where we've lost over 10 degrees of track temp, which just cools off this track, makes it where it's not as slick. But I mean, anything over 85 right now in iRacing, that is a slick track to be on.
Tell you what's going to be interesting. You know, obviously we know that Brendan Burcroft decided to run for the Soda Guys Cup Series Championship, even though he, if he can close this out, would be a 2-time winner down here in Rapid Fire Pizza National Series. The only road course that the Soda Cup guys are going to is going to be Watkins Glen. That's going to be in 2 weeks, so it's going to be interesting to see if that is going to be the place that Brendan Burcroft has circled to maybe adapt the win in your in situation to make it into the playoffs there.
Most likely. I mean, you're coming down here, you're getting your practice at road courses. Is the battle for 11th. Carson Bowers tries the outside through turn number 6. Not able to do so, and we'll actually, that's turn number 5 going into turn number 6, I should say.
And here comes Matt Knight to make it a three-man dance here out of turn 6. If those two, the 78 and 16, get together or have some mistakes, then Knight will be there to capitalize and move from 13th up to 11th.
Well, Brandon Burcroft right now has just hit the midway point, and he's getting by Brandon Andrews, putting him 1 lap down, and he's now a lap and a half away from finishing this race out, and with a comfortable 5-second lead on Logan Elton, I would imagine Brandon Burcroft feeling comfortable and cool, calm, and collective at the moment, as there's still no one really to worry about until you get up to this battle for 11th place. But that's about 8 or 9 seconds away from our leader.
Yeah, right now you have this maybe battle for 4th place between McWhirter and Crampton. However, Crampton lost some ground there through turn 5. So he's got a lot of ground to make up here with about 1.5 laps to go. And for Brendan Burcroft, the most he has lost to Logan Helton here on this run has been 0.6 of a second, but that was back when he had about a 6-second lead. So while it may seem like a lot of time that Logan Helton gained, it pales in comparison to the amount of time that Burcroft gained at the initial restart of this race.
Well, we kind of weren't expecting a full course caution, and now thinking about hitting that white flag. Now it's going to be probably once Brendan Burcroft gets this white flag, it's going to be one of the longest 2 minutes that he's going to have to drive through, because this is a long track to go through, and you're kind of hoping that you don't see anyone have an issue in front of you that could cost your race. And also, you got to stay focused yourself and make sure you don't make any mistakes coming to the end here.
Absolutely. This is going to be the lap where he is going to want to be picture perfect, precise in every corner, because even though he has a 5.5 second lead, any kind of a mistake, that gap could close up very quickly, and he could find Logan Helton either closed onto his back bumper after recovering or completely bypassing him for this win.
And that is the white flag out for our leader, and the challenge for 4th. TJ Crampton on that last section of that last lap really caught up to the 20 machine of Ty McWhirter.
Place where he has struggled the last couple of laps has been turn 5. We'll see if he can hit his marks there. If he can, he's been better in the second half of the course than Ty McWhirter in that 20 machine.
Right now, going through turn number 3, and then this long stretch. They're going to be trying their best, but man, the draft is trying to be utilized here, and Crampton's right there. He might have to try to make the pass before he gets to the corner.
Yeah, McWhirter was really slow, ran the corner of turn 3 wide. Crampton was able to drive it in deep. Where does he go here in 5? He's going to look to the driver's left, and McWhirter looks like he's not going to put up a fight here. He's going to move a little bit wider through the corner and let the 22 by. That's very smart, because McWhirter knows he wants to finish that car in one piece. He does not want it on the end of the hook with this being the last lap.
Absolutely not, and that looks like to be solidified, as TJ Crampton with no hood up to 4th place and looking strong. And our leader of Brandon Burcroft, really, he's just feeling comfortable out here coming to our last couple of corners.
You look back here at Vincent Arthur, TJ Crampton, Roger Gregory, David Santini, all up inside the top 7. Their stories have been one of comebacks here today. Brendan Burcroft, his has been one of domination, as he has led every single lap here today, and he's just a couple of corners after going through Canada corner here of taking the checkered flag and leading all 34 laps here today at Road America.
Matt Knight had some issues there, battling there for 11th and 12th place. Gets back fired up just in front of our leader. And also, you'll look at the closing rate. Logan Helton, that last lap, gained almost 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds, but it won't be enough as Brandon Burcroft at Road America gets the job done.
First time we saw Brendan Burcroft in a Rapid Fire Pizza National Series car, he took the checkers, went coast to coast at the Indianapolis road course, and he doubles down on road course starts here as he'll take the checkered flag tonight at the Road America road course.
And the battle for 4th will go to TJ Crampton, who will finish out 4th place, and Ty McWhirter going to get 5th.
Whoa, I'm not so certain about that. Okay, never mind. My scoring telemetry had Ty McWhirter for a brief moment ahead of Crampton, and then it had to update itself.
I was like, was there a black flag I didn't see?
I wasn't
Did I
sure
miss
what went
something?
on there at first.
And David Santini coming across the line here, 7th, and a great rebound for that 99 machine that was up there in the top 4 at the start of the green flag at the halfway point, but got turned around and somehow cut up to 7th place.
Cody Jordan brings it home in 8th. That's his best finish, at least that we know of, at a road course this season. And Evan Longacre now about to come around. It's been an up and down day for him, but he will still salvage a top 10 run at 9th. And we talked about Roger Gregory starting from pit road. Jeffrey Meyer did the same. And Meyer's still got a long ways to go here on the course. But looks like he'll be the one to round out the top 10.
Jeffrey Meyer, he had eventful day for sure for that 38 machine that went through the sand trap a couple of times, no hood. Barry Stevens as well, and also Bowers. They had their crazy moments throughout this race. As Bowers trying to get up to Stevens here at the end of this race.
Yeah, Matt Knight's all the way back here. I think he just went through turn 11, so he's got a long way still to go before he gets up to the checkered flag.
Carson Bowers spins it around, but I think there's a big enough gap that he should be able to keep 12th, but Bowers, right before it's going up the hill, spun it around trying to get to Barry Stevens, not able to get the job done.
So he'll still get 12th place as he crosses, and Matt Knight's the last driver that needs to cross the start-finish line, as it's going to take a while for Brendan Burcroft to get back around to the start-finish line to do his burnout. So while we're waiting for that, let's take a look at the full finish results from today's race. And we ran down most of them, but Vincent Arthur, I think, definitely showed the speed that was in that race car here today. Not only did he start closing in on the back of Brendan Burcroft there before the competition caution, he worked his way from 17th up to 3rd on that second run to the checkered flag. And this is actually not surprising, because if we go back to Indianapolis Road Course, he started that race from 11th and finished in 4th. So definitely a guy that knows how to work his way through traffic when it comes to these road courses.
Yeah, obviously a wheelman at these road courses, and a great race there from Vincent Arthur. And looking at some of our biggest movers from this race, TJ Crampton started 17th up to 4th, but our biggest mover overall was going to be Roger Gregory. Started 20th this race and finished up in the 6th place position.
Yeah, 6th place run for a guy that came in 49 points ahead of the cutoff line. So padding that lead over that elimination area just a little bit more. And with the 9 of Cody Jordan finishing 8th here this evening, Brandon Andrews officially finishing in 14th. It'll be interesting to see where they are in relation to Kevin Roy when we get to Watkins Glen next week. Barry Stevens was also within striking distance, 35 points behind the cut line. He finished in 11th, so we'll have to see what the points gap looks like when we get to Watkins Glen next week, as looks like we're going to have a little bit of a photo going on here with our top 3 finishers.
Yeah, they called it out at the halfway marker. They're like, hey, let's all just line up at the line and make a good shot of this. So they're getting lined up like they crossed the line 3 wide, but man, would have been great to see if they did that, but they were pretty spread out for most of that race.
How very democratic as well. Ford, Toyota, Chevy up inside of the top 3, so all 3 manufacturers represented in the podium for today's race. We showed you the top 10. We're going to show you back through the top 20, and Jacob Shorba there spent most of this race on pit road, but he was already locked into the playoffs. A couple of drivers that were making their first starts, Jay Queen and Jared Carr, DNF from this race. And then looked at some drivers that sustained quite a bit of damage in this race. Tim Williams and Chris Whitaker decided to call it an early day as well, finishing in 15th and 16th respectively. Let's see if we can get words with any of our top 3 finishers as they continue to sit there for the photo op on the front straightaway. And let's kick things off with our 3rd place finishing Vincent Arthur. Hey Vincent, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think if there was an award for passing most cars here today, it would definitely go to you. We saw you get hit with that EOL penalty on that competition caution, and you had to fight your way up to that 3rd position. Talk about fighting your way through traffic at a track that seems like the corners are really tight.
Yeah, it was very frustrating. Frustrating is a little bit of an understatement there. Had a great car, great long run car. I felt like it kept getting better. Towards the end of that first stint, I feel like we were actually catching Brendan, and I feel like for that second stint, we had a really, good opportunity to pass him had we not hit that EOL. But really, it was just outbraking the other drivers, and that's one thing that I've had to work on a lot throughout my time on iRacing is just being able to brake without locking them up, get the brakes to their full potential. I think that's something I was able to accomplish tonight. I really like this track. I think it suits my driving style. So to be able to go out there and get this Jones Racing setup Chevrolet top 3, I mean, I'm pretty proud of it.
We alluded to when we came on for the broadcast, the track conditions being really hot, really slick. Obviously, this is an open setup league and a track that is so tight with little room for error. How do you set up a car for a track like this?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think, I took all the lessons that John Jones had taught me, working with him, especially Sonoma was pretty big. We learned a lot from there. So taking that into, this car, I was by myself this week making setups. So, I had a solid baseline, and then I made changes that, theoretically were supposed to work, and then, just kept the car turning. And then once I, got fine-tuned in, I knew we were going to have a good long-run car. So to be able to get that short-run speed in there was pretty important. But, I feel like we did a really good job of accomplishing that. And honestly, I feel like we could have had a top 2 or possibly 1 had we not hit that EOL. But I'm really proud of the effort today.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent, overall, great comeback for you. But was there any part of this track that was just the trickiest for you during this whole entire race?
Yeah, so after that tight left-hander that leads to the big braking zone, there's another left-hander that goes uphill. You can't see the turn, and it's so easy to overshoot there. And especially once I got over top of the crest of the hill, the engine would just bog down, and I'd start to wheel hop. So just being able to back up the corners enough to where you don't have to be so hard on the brakes when you start wheel hopping, because then you're going to spin it. But just being able to back up that corner and still get the car to turn down there and not get too tight off, that was probably the most difficult part. And I got a little bit of damage passing the 19 on that restart there, so that corner especially got a lot harder because we had some right rear damage, which was affecting us a little more than I think it should have. But all in all, that was probably the hardest corner. But just be able to overcome that. I'm really proud of all my guys, and I'm really satisfied with the top 3.
Yeah, talk about those restarts real quick, because you got the first initial start of this race from the front of the field. The second restart, obviously, at the midway point, you had to start at the rear and fight your way through. Just how scary was it as a driver trying to figure out where everybody's braking zones were?
I think the first restart was probably the most treacherous. I think everybody, coming into practice, they've had, some practice, but you haven't been around that many cars. So we were able to take it easy pretty early and get through that restart pretty clean. But the second one, you really just got to trust yourself. There's not much you can do. You just got to trust the guys around you. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust your car. Thankfully, I don't know how the brakes worked so well, but on new tires with the setup we had, the brakes really came into effect, and we're playing real nice. But going 3 wide on a road course isn't the smartest thing to do. But I knew to even have a chance to get back up here, I needed to get through the traffic pretty quick before the tires equal out and everything. But yeah, I mean, it was treacherous, but I'm glad and I'm really thankful we did not get wrecked just by somebody else's mistake or me making a mistake into somebody else.
Well, Vincent, obviously back at the Indianapolis road course, we saw you start outside the top 10, work your way up into the top 5, and here today after the EOL, you fight your way back up into the podium position. So absolutely no doubt you know how to do traffic control when it comes to these road courses, and you had the speed to be able to fight your way up there as well. We're going to let you do some shout-outs now.
Thanks, guys. I'm not the the greatest at road course racing, but I really do enjoy it. So the fact I'm able to come down and do these road courses in the lower series is I'm really appreciative for the league to be for the league allowing me to do that. But I gotta thank Rapid Fire Pizza, iRacing iFlag, FSM Customs, Shorbert Racing Graphics, Abiding Love Memorial Urns, Jones Racing Setups, and then Full Tilt Brewing Company.
That's Vincent Arthur. He brings it home P3 here tonight in the JD Motorsports entry. Congrats on a great run. We wish you luck tomorrow, as we know you're battling for the championship over there in the Soda Guys Cup Series at Michigan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
And let's get our second place finishing Logan Helton. Logan, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, the 2 road courses ago when we were at Mid-Ohio, we talked to you in Victory Lane. You were up here towards the front all day long here at Road America. What, if anything, were you lacking to be able to get up there and challenge that 00 for this victory?
I think I think it was mid-run pace. I don't know if you hear that term a whole lot, but I was definitely in the middle of the run. I would just lose like just little tenths, and I think that was just enough to lose enough time because on the long run, I think we were definitely a lot better than Brandon because I mean, I just closed the gap by almost 2 seconds on that last lap alone, and it's kind of frustrating to see that happen because I was at one point just close enough to maybe I could have gotten the win, but short run, I don't know if I was pushing as hard as I could on short run just to keep in mind for that long run as we saw for the first green flag run. I wanted that to happen this time by, but it just didn't happen as soon as I thought it would.
You know, you drivers were already notified prior to going green that there was going to be that competition caution at lap 15, so it really looked like, especially on that first run, nobody was holding anything back. How much of a tire killer was Road America here today?
Well, for the first start or the first stint, I was actually saving the tires like crazy because I just had the mindset going into this that it was going to be a long run race, and but in the process, I just let him get away too far to make any difference. But once I started getting on the gas towards the end of the actual end of the race, it didn't actually go away as fast as I thought it would. Uh, I was able to hold some pace for a while actually, and I just didn't expect that. But once the tires did get bad, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Logan, a great run on your part to get a second place finish, and it just seemed like the 00 was good on those short runs compared to everyone else. But when the runs were going on, the weather change was something that was out there. The track cooled off a lot more than I thought it was going to. Was that affecting the car in any way out there on track?
I do believe that was also one of the factors that let me close out the gap on the last lap because I saw the clouds cover the track, and then I saw the temperature of the track going down, and then I look at my relative and I was closing in, and I was like, just thinking how that's just crazy how much the track temperature made a difference, or how much the clouds could make a difference.
Well, Logan, obviously, you know, we've got another road course coming up next week with Watkins Glen. So, is there anything based on the setup that you had here tonight at Road America that you can then apply over to Watkins Glen, or is it like two entirely different road courses in terms on how you set up a race car?
I think there are similarities, but some tracks are just completely different. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a vote going on currently to see if we can change Watkins Glen to Daytona Road Course. I'm not completely sure what's going on with that, but to be honest, I'm hoping for the Daytona Road Course. So, but yeah, every track is different, but every track also has its similarities, and definitely anything I learned this week, I can bring to next week. And I also like the fact how we're going to have 2 road courses in the same week.
Well, it's
Or,
interesting. We're going to definitely have to keep tabs on that as to whether there will be a venue change on the schedule. But, regardless, Watkins Glen, Daytona Road Course, they always seem to bring about really good racing. And, of course, with us closing in towards the end of the regular season, could make it very interesting as far as a wild card race towards someone maybe getting a last-minute spot into the playoffs. We know you're already locked into the playoffs with your 2 victories, however, one of them coming at a road course this season at Mid-Ohio. But Logan, for now, we're going to let you do some shout-outs now.
thanks to my sponsors, RGC Media and East Bay Landscaping. Thanks to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for being on the car. All my friends and family that are watching, definitely you guys for putting on the broadcast. Everyone at the league that puts this on, and the Rapid Fired Pizza, iRacing, iFlag, FSM Customs, Shorebus Racing Graphics, and Abiding Love Memorial Urns. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and my team at BJ McLeod Motorsports.
That is Logan Helton. He brings on P2 here tonight at Road America. Congratulations on a great run, and we look forward to talking to you, whether it be Watkins Glen or Daytona Road Course next week.
Yep, thank you.
And let's get in our race winner, Brendan Burcroft. Brendan, it's Sam and Seth up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got us?
Yep, I gotcha.
Well, the last time we were at a road course, it was Indianapolis. You went coast to coast there. You go coast to coast here tonight at Road America. What is about these road courses where all of a sudden you seem to really be strong?
I've just come from a go-karting background, so I really love I love turning right as much as I love turning left. I find a real passion for it and a real challenge of it. So it thankfully comes natural to me, you know, compared to the ovals. But I really enjoy it. You know, I take pride in it, and I really usually try and have fun, have a good time with it.
Well, you know, obviously all 34 laps led tonight, your second win of the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series, but you're running for the Soda Guys Cup Series Championship, trying to make it into the playoffs there. We've only got one road course before the playoffs begin on that schedule, that being Watkins Glen. So with the success you've had down here in the lower series, getting 2 road course wins, is Watkins Glen the place you've got circled as maybe the winning you're in situation?
Honestly, I would really hope so. I really enjoy the road course, obviously. I really enjoy a super speedway, so I'll be excited for Daytona as well. But it's definitely circled on my calendars, even if it's just solely for the fact of I really want to have a good time in that race and really show some people what I got. So I'm quite excited for that one for sure.
Yeah, Brendan, I mean, it looked like you were solid when there was no one around you. The only few times you had cars around you was at those restarts and also around lap machines. Was there at any moment you felt like maybe this race could slip away from your fingers, or was it pretty comfortable from the drop of the green?
The first run before the competition caution was pretty nice. I was able to pull out really fast, and we had a really phenomenal short run car, and it really fell off hard on the long run. So thankfully it was a little bit of a shorter run for the first side of it, so we were able to pull away and kind of not really have to look back. And then Vincent got a speeding penalty, which really helped us. I think he was probably our main competition there at the end. And then Santini had a big problem. I believe he got into an accident, so I think he was right up there as well. And then Logan kept me really honest on that last I'd say 5-10 laps. It was just about getting as much as I could out of the car because I knew how fast they were on the long run, and just making sure I didn't make any mistakes.
Well, Brendan, obviously we know with you being out in front, you were able to really focus on hitting your marks, but we know that there's quite a number of trouble spots, turn 5, turn 11 here at Road America. Was there any particular corner you paid extra close attention to in your approach to it?
Honestly, one of the biggest things we struggled with today is we just could not find a handle on the brakes. We were either locking up. I'd say me and Ty McWhorter both ran the same setup, so we were both really struggling into the corners. Whether it would be, sometimes it'd be really unpredictable. You'd hit the brakes and sometimes it'd get really loose and almost spin, and sometimes it'd lock up and you just go straight. So honestly, it was the main big braking zones. So like I think 1, 4, 5. I mean, those were actually, I'd say those are the 3 main ones that were really tough for us. It was just, especially in those last few laps, you're looking for anything to really screw you up when you're out front like that. So I was really trying to make sure I kept it on the track.
Well, obviously, Brendan, a tremendous dominating performance you here today at Road America, your second win of the season here in the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series, and we're going to let you do some shout-outs now.
Yeah, of course. I'll shout out my personal sponsor, VFW. Then you got Rapid Fire Pizza, iRacing iFlag, FSM Customs, Shorebus Racing Graphics, and Abiding Love Memorial Urns. I appreciate them letting us have a lot of fun tonight.
Well, that's Brendan Burcroft. He goes coast to coast here tonight, pole to win at Road America for his second win of the season in this series. And we wish you luck tomorrow. Look forward to talking to you in the Irish Hills of Michigan for the Soda Guys Cup Series.
Thank you, guys. Can't wait to talk to you guys tomorrow.
And that's going to conclude our coverage here tonight from Road America. And I think we could say, Sam, that, the competition caution that was thrown, it definitely threw a little bit of a monkey wrench in for these drivers, with the fact that if we had not had that, more than likely the field would have remained spread out for pretty much this entire race. And with that competition caution coming out, all these drivers that either struggled in the first half, they had a little bit of a redemption opportunity, but it also had other drivers that maybe might have been en route to good finishes running into some problems late.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see how this race would have gone if we had not had that competition caution, because like Brendan was saying, he had a fantastic short run, but that car was falling off quick, and the cars behind him had great long run machines. So if that competition caution did not come out, how much time would have been gained for those drivers later on in the run?
Well, tomorrow night, we're going to be having the Soda Guys Cup Series in, as I mentioned, Michigan International Speedway. And the interesting thing about that racetrack, it's the last track that a Toyota Camry has gone to victory lane. Ty McWhirter was the winner there. And a couple of other guys that ran in tonight's race finished well there as well. Vincent Arthur brought it home in the third position. It's the second time that we're going to the Michigan International Speedway. So it's going to be interesting to see there, especially with the fact that Michigan is one of those tracks. It's 2 miles in length. And a lot of ways, it's somewhat fundamentally like a super speedway. So we're going to see some really close pack racing in that one.
Yeah, it's going to be close action all the way around through the whole entire field. And it's all going to be about saving your tires, saving your fuel, and who has the best strategy to win that race in the end.
And of course, here for the Rapid Fire Pizza National Series, as we just heard from Logan Helton, alluding to the fact that there might be a little bit of a poll going on as to which road course we're going to next week. It may be the already scheduled Watkins Glen, or it may get swapped over to Daytona Road Course. Let's say you're a driver, Sam. Which one do you want to go to?
Honestly, I'd probably, just because I'm not road courses are my toughest places to be, I'd probably want to pick the Glen, but it's always interesting to go to Daytona Road Course. It's a fun place to race as well. And I think some of the drivers would love to go to Daytona instead of the Glen.
I mean, we've obviously seen how the super speedway of Daytona can be a wild card race. No doubt about it, the Daytona Road Course would be a wild card race as well. And as mentioned, whether it be there or whether it be Watkins Glen, two tracks that are road courses, a lot of times it comes down to saving tires, comes down to fuel strategy. We could see someone sneak their way to a victory and claim themselves a last-minute playoff spot with only a handful of races left here in the regular season. As mentioned, Soda Guys Cup Series tomorrow. We also have FTF that's running tomorrow night. They'll be here at Road America as well, and they're going to be running a special theme race, the Animation Domination race over on the iRacing side, where you're going to see a lot of drivers out there running special cartoon liveries, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, too, this is going to be the first time that Flatout Racing Network has broadcasted for FTF since all the way back on the 4th of July at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. A lot of stuff has gone on since then. There's been some drivers that have popped up into the playoffs now, have been able to work their way up into the top 25 in points. So we're going to have a lot of storylines when the green flag flies tomorrow evening for that FTF race.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch for sure. And all the road course guys that we're used to seeing running up front, it's going to be exciting to see who decides to come up and really win that race tomorrow night.
So it's going to be a busy weekend for us here at Flatout Racing Network. Hope you will join us for all the races that are going to be coming up here on Saturday and Sunday. But Sam, as always, here tonight at Road America, appreciate you sticking out these 34 laps with me here in the booth.
It's always a pleasure there, Seth.
And hope everybody enjoyed tonight's event here from Road America. Brendan Burcroft is your winner. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. For Samuel Dyer, I'm Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast here this evening, courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.